And thank you for joining us for this really special Facebook Live to introduce you to the new Jessica's House Center, basically, the new spot. My name is Jessica Irish, basically no relation to Jessica's House, just happen to have the same name. And I'm joined here by Erin Nelson, the Executive Director of Jessica's House, and Brad Quillen, who's also the chaplain, to kick things off for us.
That's right.
So
We're kicking off our new home with prayers to build on today, so we're so excited.
So excited to be here, and it's amazing to actually set foot on this spot that I've driven by so many times.
Yes.
So it's at 1225 West Christopherson.
Yes, it
between
is.
Crowell and Walnut on Christopherson.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll talk to Erin in more detail as we go along and show you around the new Jessica's House. But Brad, let's start off with you and ask you, what does this day mean to you and to Jessica's House?
Yeah, today for Jessica's House is our event as we start the prayers to build on. As families come to Jessica's House, and it's our prayers that the families would find hope and healing here as we move into this new center, starting in sometime in spring, early summer. And the great thing is that we'll hopefully never have a waiting list again for families. And so today that kicks off, and I'm excited, Jessica, because the reality of from day one when I got to be a part of Jessica's House and watch families come together and not be isolated anymore in their grief and realize there's others out there that are going through similar things that they are, to where they can come together and find support with one another. That's what's so exciting about today as we kick this off.
It's so awesome. How many more families you're going to be able to serve? Yeah. All right, should we kick off the tour?
Let's do it.
Okay, Erin and I are going to walk through the house, and we'll let the Communications and Development Director, Davis, walk through
That's right.
with us.
So this is our lobby, and so we have a little fireplace over here. And families, every time they come to Jessica's House, families have dinner together. So we have a dining room over here where families can gather and have dinner. And we have a family intake room. We have about 3 times a week, families will come and they will just come in and really need support. So just a quiet spot for them to land and feel comfort just as they walk into Jessica's House at the very first time.
It's hard for you all probably at home to figure out the scope of how big this is, but Erin, tell us how much bigger this space is compared to the current spot in downtown.
Yes, so our other spot that we had was about 2,000 square feet. And so we were quickly running out of room, even when just within a couple of years of opening, we realized very quickly that we didn't have enough space to really serve the grieving families that needed us. And we had quickly grew to from 1 to 25 to 50 to then serving about 300 individuals. And there just wasn't enough space in our rented facility. And so we really knew that we needed to find a space and to really have a space that families could come and find comfort, because we serve about 28 cities. And so just knowing that they can come from all over and find free support here with other grieving families.
28 different cities and now 300 different individuals that you
Yes.
all serve.
That's correct.
That's awesome. The impact you're going to have now
We're
on
so
our
grateful.
widespread community, maybe even beyond those cities. Then.
That's right. And you know, our community has just been so generous. And they built this, and we asked people, do we need this in our community? And they said yes. And so being able to respond to the community, to build a bigger home for them, just really has meant so much to us. And today we get to build on the prayers of our community.
Exactly. And meet some of the people who have been such huge supporters
Absolutely.
of the new Jessica's House.
Yes.
So those first supporters we'd like you to meet are Jeannie and John Ferrari. If you all could stand here so we can be sure to see your faces as much as we can, considering we have masks on. So right now we are in the art studio where John and Jeannie Ferrari, it's going to be named after John and Jeannie, and right? And
So
sorry.
the name is actually,
Oh, sorry.
it's John and Jeannie have given to name this after our son Carter. And so we never imagined as we started this in September, and we started really building this building, that we would go through our own tragedy as a family. And so our son Carter was tragically killed last September in a car accident, and we never imagined, but John and Jeannie, we got a message that they wanted to give and sponsor a room in memory of Carter, and they had their own tragedy. And so it was just the kindest act of generosity and just meant so much to us. And so we wanted them to be today the first people that would write the prayers on the wall.
That's right, yeah, so thank you so much for your generosity to John and Jeannie. Why did you want to be able to help in this new Jessica's House and to be able to keep Carter's memory alive?
Well, we understand loss like this, and we were heartsick when we heard of Carter's death, and we're still heartsick every day. But we knew about the project, that Jessica's House project, and we remembered how much it meant to our family when, by a kind gesture, someone gave the space a room at the Manual Medical Center after our son just died. So our hearts just wanted to do a kind gesture like that, and so we asked if we could do that. And obviously, the art room seemed perfect because Carter loved music, and he was so creative. So we were delighted that we were able to do this.
That's amazing.
I have to say, my prayer is just that it would just be filled with his fun spirit and creativity. And thank you for picking this room, because I think just when I think about the kids that come to Jessica's House, and Carter was so fun, and he was so creative, and he loved art and music, and so we love this space, and we can't wait for families, for children to come in here and express themselves.
I can't wait to see that either. And John and Jeannie, your prayer for us today?
I think just that the Lord provide peace to those who find refuge here, and that He provide strength for every new day. That was what was on our hearts when we struggled.
And
And I wanted to add something.
yeah.
Carter was a creative kid, and he loved music and art, and so did our son.
Mhm.
So it just seemed like this was such the right thing to do.
Absolutely. Yes, they were both so giving, and they had such a heart to help, and they were creative, and when we got to talk, it just seemed like just the perfect fit. So we're just so grateful.
Thank you. And you'll see we're also joined here by Aaron's husband, Brian Nelson. And so can you both share with us what this means to you? I know we heard from Aaron, but Brian, what does this mean to you to have John and Jeannie be able to give like this and to have this studio named after Carter?
You know, it's a very humbling, very powerful gesture and gift from them to us and to our community. I know today we've talked a lot about prayers for this home, and I remember when Carter passed away, that my prayer was that his death, his passing, that God would use that to save other lives. And I feel like this home and the generous donation by the Ferraris and other families here is going to go a long way to providing a tremendous amount of healing for this community and for this area. We've gone through so much loss, us personally, and just as a community in general, through the last few months. And so this is going to be a place where I think lives are going to be changed, and that's always been my prayer in losing my son, that God would use that to save others. And I think this is a very tangible way in making that a reality. So thank you again so very, very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. And so they'll have a chance to write their prayers on the wall this morning, right?
Yes, so yes, you guys please write your prayers on the wall, and we'll be going to take a tour of and have the other people that can write their prayers. And so let's
Exactly.
pop over and let's see who's next. Thank you, Ferraris.
Thank you, John and Jeannie.
This will probably take about 2 or 3 days.
Perfect.
So Jessica's House was founded in 2012, right?
That's correct.
So
yes.
now 8 years later,
Mhm.
to think that you are expanding by this much and
Yes.
you've kept so many lives, is that
Yes.
hard to?
Oh, it's hard to
fathom?
believe. It's
Yeah.
hard to believe, and we're just so grateful that would be able to build a home to just welcome these families in, and we've grown so much since 2012, so we're so thankful to be here.
And one of the instrumental people from the start
Yes.
of Jessica's House is the woman you're going to meet right now, Nancy Daly.
Yes.
And we are now stepping into the hospital room. So Nancy, you're on the staff at Jessica's House, and this hospital room, can you explain what this is going to be used for?
Yes, Jessica, thank you. So the hospital room, many children have experienced someone dying in the hospital. So they can come in here and they can experience what happened, but also they can be the doctor or the nurses, they could be the hero, they could be the patient, and they could be the healer. And with that, they're able to experience some hope and encouragement and not to be afraid about the hospital. And so it's really exciting that we have this room.
Wow, just a way for them to role play their
exactly.
way through that
Right,
emotion.
exactly. And it's amazing how they love to be able to heal or bring hope to each other as they're in this room experiencing it. So it's going to be really exciting.
Yeah, interesting.
Jessica, I wanted to point out that we have a big opening here, and this will be an ICU door, so a glass door, so that kids, sometimes they might not really be ready to enter the hospital room, but they can walk out to the kids' play area out there and maybe just walk by. That we have a sliding door, so we're trying to create a very authentic space for expression. And so they will have a hospital bed and an IV pole, and we want to create a place for them to just really work out that experience, like Nancy said.
Wow.
Yes.
What does that do? I'm curious myself. What does that do for children to be able to act this out?
So to express and to re-enter a place where they had trauma and to actually just be the hero, like Nancy said, it's healing. It really helps them to be empowered, to feel like they have some mastery over an experience. Because once they can feel very disempowered when they didn't have any control over what happened in that hospital room. But now they get to go in, and if they're the hero, then they have that mastery. They can go on to thrive and to not even be afraid maybe to go into a hospital another time.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I didn't even think about how that can heal them.
Yes,
So
thank
much.
you, Nancy.
Yeah, well, do we want to talk about Nancy's prayer?
Oh, yes, let's do Nancy's prayer.
Okay, so this prayer, it says, Dear Lord, draw near to the families who enter into this front door of Jessica's house, who are facing times of sadness and loss. Draw each one ever closer into your precious arms of love and support. Provide the comfort they need as they're all to share their hearts with one another. May the families feel your healing touch and comfort that causes each of them to draw closer to you, knowing that they are not alone. You will heal the broken heart and bring joy out of pain.
Thank you so much, Nancy.
Thank
And
you.
for all that you do
Oh,
for our
thank
community
you.
too.
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.
All right, now we're moving on to our tour. Erin will lead the way since I will get
Yes.
lost.
I'll lead the way, and we get to go to one of our favorite rooms, and this is the circular talking room. I have to say that we first saw the circle in Portland, Oregon, at the center that's called the Denny Center. And this center was the very first grief center in the United States. Now there are about 400 grief centers like Jessica's House in the United States, but they were the very first one in 1980. And when they built their first building, they were able to create this circular room of healing, and this is where we are today.
Wow. And also joining us, and we can explain more about the idea of the circle talking room, are Audrey and her mom, Gloria Smallwood. Audrey is a youth ambassador with Jessica's House. So Audrey, tell us what made you want to become a youth ambassador. What's your connection to Jessica's House?
So we actually had the opportunity to be in the very first Jessica's House group. I had just recently lost my father at a very young age. So being able to be in such a loving environment with other children who were, experiencing the same thing that I was going through really helped me understand my grief. And now standing here 10 years later, it's crazy to think about how much Jessica's House has transformed our life. and how many lives Jessica's House will continue to transform in this beautiful new building. So we pray today that every person that walks through these doors will be able to find the same love, hope, and healing that we did. And one day they'll be able to stand here like I am and share how much Jessica's House has positively impacted their life.
Wow. That must be so proud, Gloria. Just hearing her speak, yeah, brings tears to our eyes, yeah. And to think how much you've grown, I'm sure,
Yes.
with Jessica's House, just with your heart and your maturity, huh?
Yeah.
Gloria, any insights that you have just seeing Audrey go through this experience and having Jessica's House to turn to as her mother?
Well, what's really interesting is that Erin, being one of my very, best friends, I experienced her dream with her as she sought for a location for the first Jessica's House, never realizing that my daughter would actually be in the first group for Jessica's House. And that was divine for us. And it was definitely an answer to prayer for Audrey to have the support, and also for the parents that come. Because you don't just drop off your child. The parents or the child's guardians have to stay on site and also receive facilitating for their grief and their sorrow and their pain. And I think the concept is just beautiful for the whole family.
It really is. It's a whole process for the whole family to experience together. Yeah. Thank you so much, Audrey and Gloria.
Thank you. Love you guys so
Love
much.
you.
Thank you.
All right, now we're moving on to the sensory room.
That's right. Right into the sensory room, Jessica. This is a
And-
really exciting room.
Yeah, tell us more about it. What goes on?
Yes, so the sensory room, in this room we have, it's really about calming, and over here is a volcano room, so we'll be facilitating anger and really big emotions that come. And so, but what we learned from other centers as we built our own center is that after you can express your anger and your rage and whatever those big emotions are when someone that you love dies, that you needed time to really shift from anger to calm. And we can all learn how to do that, and especially after trauma, being able to understand what it feels like to do that. So we created a calming room in here, which is our sensory room, and then over there in that room is all of our big energy. So that's what this room is all about.
It's brilliant to be able to have a space, a safe space for them to just expel
Yes,
their emotions.
it's so important.
And in the sensory room, we're joined by another youth ambassador, Daryl here. So Daryl, tell us what Jessica's House has meant to you.
Well, Jessica's House is like a secure place where I can come and talk about my dad. It's like a fortress where it's shielding me from the outside world that doesn't really understand what I'm going through, how that affects my everyday life. And it's just great to come here and be filled with love and joy from the other people that are here.
To know you're not alone.
Right?
Yeah. And Erin, I mean, just talking to Daryl, talking to Audrey and Gloria, we're getting an idea of how these lives, it's not just the number, it's not just the 300 individuals you help, but it's each individual. What does that mean to you to be able to hear these stories and see the growth now in so many of these young people?
You know, our mission when we began, it was really just to create a stronger and a healthier community. And to be strong and healthy, if you go through something as a child and you don't have an opportunity to express, you can't find your resilience. So these kids that come in and they have healing and true deep transformation, they go out into the community and they are not going to have those kinds of behaviors or, with whatever that is, if they didn't find that support, it affects your mental health. It can lead to addiction. It can lead to crime. And so to create a stronger and healthier community starts with kids who have trauma, to provide a place for them where they know they're not alone. They're able to express, they're able to learn how to find calm and to really dig deep into their resiliency that's there for them. And so just knowing that these kids can do that and then come back and speak for us, it's just so beautiful. And we just love watching them become a resilient adults. So many of them are looking to see how they can go into a helping field and help others. And so it's just amazing to watch their healing and transformation.
Wow, it must be. Yeah, to see them grow up into these, you're right, resilient adults.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Daryl, so
Thanks,
much.
Thank you.
Daryl.
And he'll be writing his prayer on the
Thank
wall
you.
as well.
Thank you, Daryl.
Now we're going to the teen talking room,
Yes.
right? All right, so Erin, go ahead and lead the way because it's a little
Leading
bit,
the way, yes.
we have to wind around.
We're gonna wind around a little
So
bit.
we're going around the circular talking room
Yes.
again, and I wanted to talk about why the circle and why
Yes.
the talking room, like that whole
Yes.
environment is important, right there at front.
Yes. The first thing that the children do when they walk into the Jessica's house, first they eat dinner together, but then they go and they have a circle. And this is the time where they say their name, they say who died, and they say how they died. And they find commonality, and they learn that they're not the only one. And so for that circle time to be able to come, we have a talking stick that we use. We sit around a circle, a healing circle, and we're just able to check in. We call it a check-in, and we say like, what's going on today? Like, how do you feel today? They have a little chart. They can maybe be a volcano, or maybe they're partly cloudy, sunshine, or something like that. So being able to have that circle and come together, this is the time they connect, and then they go into all the therapeutic places for expression. So that circular room is so important. And then each group, so that's our little talking room, and then this, the teens do the same thing. So they check in. And so this is their talking room.
Got it, perfect. Yeah, now we're in the teen talking room, which is sponsored by the Chiesa and Martella families. And we're joined by Melanie and Kevin Chiesa right now. Thank you so much for your support and for joining us here today. Tell us what this means, being able to be a part of this huge Jessica's House means to you. And then let us know what your prayer is too. Well, you know, my heart is so full of joy today because having lived this almost 10 years ago when we lost Sierra, she was 14. And so this room, we decided the teen room was appropriate. Not only Sierra being a teenager, but then our younger daughter, Sydney, who unfortunately wasn't able to be here today. She's off at college, but she was needing it. And Jessica's House was just starting. And I was going to be a facilitator. Sydney didn't think she needed it at the time, but I talked her into doing a couple of sessions. I said, let's just go do a couple of sessions. You know, when you're a teenager, it's hard to share your emotions. And after watching her sister go through an illness, she was kind of ready just to stop being sad. You know, she says, Mom, I just want people to treat me normal. I want life to just go on, but it's not going to go on the same way, you know, as we have all learned. So we talked her into doing 2 sessions, and she absolutely loved it and bonded with the other kids. You know, they all had so much in common and could share those thoughts. It was a safe place, and so she then continued on for about a year and a half more, and then was able to close out and is doing really well now. So it's been a blessing. And so we wanted it to be a blessing to all the other teens out there who are going through the same things. Right.
Yeah, so the Chiesa and Martella family, they've been just such key supporters for us, and we're just so grateful. I mean, just to have this teen room in memory of Sierra, and to have seen Sydney come through the program, and now she's a volunteer. She's also a youth ambassador, and just like we saw with Daryl and with Audrey, just healing, transformation, and just watching her and just being college now. It's just amazing.
Oh, in fact, one of her roommates lost her mother last year or a year and a half ago. And it was amazing to be able to watch Sydney be able to come alongside her through her pain. And, you know, she says, boy, if I had not gone to Jessica's house, Mom, I don't know if I would have had that ability, you know, to be there. So we're seeing it, you know, go forward. The ripple effect beyond our community. Wow. So just got the chills. I know, and it makes us, it does our heart good too, because, you know, you just see them struggling, and, you know, you've already lost a child, and then you have another child that is hurting. So, and now I'm a facilitator here too. I work with the adults, but it's just amazing to watch families come in just broken, and just to see, you know, the light starting to come back in their eyes, the smiles come back on their faces. So thank God we have Jessica's house.
We're so glad we have you.
Thank you. And did you want to share your prayers?
Do you want Jessica's house? Do you want to share yours? Kevin, we started writing them already, so you share yours first.
I pray that all who come to Jessica's house find healing and comfort in their loss. Bless the staff and volunteers in their work in helping all families to heal.
And mine is, I pray that every grieving child and parent who walks through these doors will find encouragement, compassion, empathy, and love. May Jessica's house and all volunteers be a bright light to help heal their hearts and renew their hope.
Beautiful. Oh, thank you guys.
Oh, we're heartwarming. Thank
Glad
you.
we could
Glad to
be
be
here.
involved.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
We'll let you go, Davis, and
Yes.
then Erin will guide us to the next
Yes.
room. Now, so we have the teen talking room. Now we're going
Yes.
to the teen quiet room, right?
Yes, we have the teen talking room. We have a teen activity room that has a lot of really wonderful games and big energy play that they can do in this room over here. And we also have a time machine in that room that will be like maybe a child would want to go forward to a time when they're feeling hopeful, or maybe they want to go back to a time when they have a really good memory of the person who died. So some special donors that have donated a time machine, so they'll actually be able to go inside and put the time in that they want to either go forward to or back to, and so that'll be a really great place of just reflection and hopefulness. And then this is our teen quiet room. You know, a lot of times when teens come to our program, because our program is free, it's open-ended, maybe teens are having a really good time and they're talking together and they're having fun, which is wonderful. But we might have someone where dad died just, a week ago, or maybe a brother or sister died. And so this is a place of reflection. And if we just need a quiet space to be, being able to break out with our facilitators and go with every child's different. Like some have big energy, some have like smaller energy. And so being able to come to a place of quiet and to really maybe do poetry or art and just to sit and just be with other people is really, really necessary. So being able to create therapeutic spaces for all different personalities and needs.
Definitely. And I love that there is a safe place for each of those needs and activities and loudness and quietness and
Yes.
talking. So this space allows you to do that.
It does, it really does.
So in the teen quiet room, we're joined by Chaplain Dave Williams with the Turlock Police Department. Thank you for being here. Tell us what Jessica's House means to the first responder community.
They are an irreplaceable partner. So when we go to a death call with fire department or police department, a variety of people are impacted in the home. You oftentimes have next of kin. Sometimes you have the friends. Sometimes there's the children. And my heart breaks when I see the children ignored. The adults are trying to deal with the impact of what's happening, and the children are often quietly off to the side. And so we know from the very beginning with Jessica's House that we can give information and referral to that family to get the children cared for immediately, whether it's that day or the next day. And there have been some occasions where we called Jessica's House and had them join us at the house on the day of the death. And so then the beginning of the healing starts. And so for us, our mission with the family is short-lived. It's just a few hours, maybe a couple of days at the most. But with Jessica's House, we know that the healing is continuing. We've always had something for the adults, where to refer them, but we didn't have anywhere for the children for Jessica's House.
To know that you have a partner to be able to direct them to, I'm sure, makes your job easier.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Because when the children are receiving some kind of benefit, they can process this with professionals and loving people. This goes on for generations. Sometimes if the death is an older person, the people that are impacted, it may be an impact for a few years. But when there's children, you've got decades and decades of life that comes after that death. And so what's it going to look like? And Jessica's House is going to help them to heal from the loss.
Exactly. And we were just talking about that ripple effect that Jessica's House has on the people that come here, who can then share what they've learned and also share their resilience with the world. Yeah. And your prayer for Jessica's House?
Yes, this is my prayer. My writing's not very good.
We can read it. It's good.
Okay. So To the Father we ask, you said from the beginning you told us that our earthly existence was temporary, that we live in an existence that's eternal. You give and you take away, so we draw close to you through both. Use Jessica's house to hold the hands of so many devastated by the losses. Use the mission of love, comfort, and hope toward the thousands who will heal within these walls. Use your church to bring you and your strength to the bruised and the broken, and use the pain of this world to prepare us for the glory of the next. In Jesus' name.
That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Chaplain Dave.
Thank you, Chaplain.
Thank you so much.
All right, go ahead. And now, Erin, let's walk us back to the front.
Let's walk back to the
area.
front, and I wanted to mention Brad Quillen, who's standing in our storage here. He's our chaplain, and he works alongside the fire department with first responders, with police officers, with the sheriff's office. So if there's a critical incident in our community, then we have a team that can go out and support the kids and the families affected by a critical incident, even in schools. We have school groups, and then also what we can do is offer that support, that open-ended free support for as long as they need it. And then we'll just run into our dining room just to give you a quick little look. We have Eddie and Gloria from our Simile team, and then Jessica, I'll let you introduce our other friends.
Sure, we also have, so we're now in the dining room, right?
Yes, so every time a family comes to group, they will always have dinner, and so this is a room that we'll be able to use for volunteer training. And then also for our dining room, so that each family, when they come into Jessica's house before group begins, that they'll be able to eat dinner together.
So important, I'm sure.
Yes.
Just to have that feeling of the family unit.
Absolutely.
During this time, yeah. So we also have some other young people here writing their prayers on the wall, and we also have Brianna, who's a youth ambassador for Jessica's House. And what are your names?
Dylan.
Hello. And Omar.
Hi, Omar.
Thank you for being here and writing your prayers on the wall.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Now, we're going back to the lobby where we have a lot of supporters and volunteers and staff here.
Hi. Hi, Chaplain Robert. Good to see you.
Thank you for being here.
Hi.
And the trauma dogs.
Yes.
Your fam?
Oh.
So, Erin, tell us how, if people want to get involved, if people want to support Jessica's House,
Yes.
how can they do so?
If they want to support Jessica's House, they can just go to our website, jessicashouse.org. There's a lot of information for families if you need support. And then also, if you want to be involved in opening our doors to our new building, we'd love to talk to you. And if also, we will be gathering every prayer, since all the prayers will be covered by the Pink Croster. But we'll be gathering every prayer that people send to prayers@jessicashouse.org in a book on our coffee table. So send in your prayers. We'd just love to capture your prayer for our families in our lobby there in a book.
So again, if you have your own prayers, prayers@jessicashouse.org.
Yes.
And for more general information, go to jessicashouse.org. And Erin, when can we actually get to experience the new building? When is it going to be open?
Well, we're going to have a schedule, which I can't say enough about our building team, and we plan to open early spring of 2021.
Awesome.
Yes, we can't wait. It's coming together so beautifully. We have so much support. I can't say enough about the donors, the pledges that have come through to build this building. We're just so grateful to our community, and thank you, everyone. And thanks for joining us today.
Yes, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us and learning more about Jessica's House.
Thank
Have a good
you.
day.